knew all these years later we would still be talking about Mr. Controversy himself. It was the Misinformation X600. You loved it, you didn't like it, you had this opinion, you had that opinion, but we all had an opinion, and that's fine. Opinions is fine. I give my opinion. A lot of people don't agree with it. I agree with it. A lot of you don't, and that's fine. Do you know why it's fine? Because it's all about audio. Audio is about debate. There's no right or wrong. Some things are objective. You can say, I've measured it flat, and someone else will say it's V-shaped, and you could pretty much demonstrate empirically it's not flat, but you'll still argue about it. My point being, some things are quite objective, but audio itself, how it makes you feel, how it sounds to your ears, is completely subjective. It really doesn't matter if it's the worst speaker to someone else or the best. It's about open debate. And it's really lovely to see some channels saying, we also welcome open debate. Oh, hang on a second. They said that, and then they didn't. You remember that guy, Iyagi, Al, who said he welcomes open debate, and then you debated some of the issues on his review of the Misinformation X600, which I thought was quite reasonable. I didn't call him out as anything in particular. I just pointed out, in fact, I started off, we'll get into that in a minute, but I thought it was a very reasonable chat where I believe he got some things wrong, and we can talk about that in a minute. But it developed in something a little bit, should I say sinister? Maybe. Because my comments got muted. First of all, they got my last couple of comments got deleted, so it looked like Iyagi had the last word. And then after that, the whole thread got deleted, so the comments were never there. It's called censorship. Now, he will argue, and he certainly has argued, that when, I think a year later, I was still asking why, up to this point, he has never, I've asked him on Instagram and other places, why he muted me, and he never actually replied. Funny enough, now he's been invited onto Audioholics, a channel I've watched for a long, long time. Gene de la Sua, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, someone I respect and look up to. Now, they've invited him on. Look, this is an intelligent bloke. I'm not arguing about his technical ability. Jay's Iyagi. He knows his stuff. He listens to a shitload of high-end gear that I have never done. I've had moderately high-end gear in the past, but I've never had the budget or the ability to frequently go between systems. He knows a shitload more than I do, and I've never been a DIY. I don't have that technical knowledge. This guy, described by Audioholics as a rising star, whatever that means. Does it just mean you get more subscribers? I guess. And in our industry and YouTube community with a passion for audio and solid technical background. No arguments there. And that's why I hold him to account when he's calling this spatial audio, and he knows spatial audio in this sense is stereo, and every stereo speaker is spatial audio, and this doesn't have a format for spatial audio. I would have expected somewhere in his review to him mention that. So they go on to say he holds a master's in engineering, a candidate. I don't know what a candidate means. Does it mean he's doing his PhD now? I don't know. Being a candidate for a PhD in neuroscience. I'm not quite sure what a candidate is. Maybe it means something else in America. In the UK, I don't understand that. You're either doing a doctorate or you're not. In neuroscience, the guy is not stupid. Hands up, I recognize the guy knows his. I'm not arguing. I know Iyagi knows his stuff. I have to say, because the guy is so knowledgeable, because so much was skipped on that video that could have or should have been explained, and because I was muted and I wasn't, I say I wasn't. So he's gone on he's done a live broadcast, a podcast if you don't know, on the Audioholics channel, where he then went in the comments to say, thank you for having me on your channel. So I replied, why did you mute me, Jay, for pointing out your flaw testing methodology on your X600 video while pretending you welcome open debate? He has openly stated, and this is the point, he openly has stated, he's willing to learn, and he welcomes open debate. And then so when I asked him that, this is the first time in a year he's replied to me asking him that. Hey, Alan, I welcome open discussion. So he's still claiming that. But you were not giving me a chance for open discussion. Well, it's a comment thread. You just have to reply. So already, that makes no sense. with your rude and hostile comments. Now, what is the definition of hostility? That's aggression, isn't it? We'll go over that in a minute. So this is what he's saying on Audioholics. Is it because he doesn't have the ability to delete comments on there? Or on his comment? I'm actually not. Can you delete? No, I don't think you can delete comments on your thread on someone else's channel. Rather than constructive back and forth. And that's not something I engage with or tolerate on my channel. Okay? So this is the point of my, listen, if you don't know me, I rant. That's my therapy. Okay? I've done many rants in the past. Otherwise it builds up in me. I don't want to sit down and waste my time on these videos, but I have to do it for my own mental health. I will openly say it. This is my therapy. I've said it in the past. I'm clearly not a guy who's trying to monetize YouTube, am I? I'm not here for money or views. You can see I did a rant about Bluetti, didn't I? Someone said, you're just doing it for views. Well, here's the thing. Tell me someone on YouTube making videos that isn't doing it for views. Of course they're making videos for views. It's stupid to say you're only making a video for a view. For a view. What else are we doing it for? But I'm not doing it for money. In fact, I won't monetize this video just to hammer home that point. With your rudeness. So I said, in fact, all I said was, anyone is welcome to come on my Instagram or my community posts on my channel and view the screenshots, because you can't see those screenshots now because you've got to be logged in as me to still see that thread. Should have deleted the whole thing. See, silent, he made a mistake there. Silent muted me instead of just deleting the whole thing. So I can still, to this day, and I had screenshots at the same time, at the time anyway. So I just said, I invited them to go on my channel to actually make their own judgments on who shut who down wrongly. What I objected to most is when Iyagi, first of all, just muted my last couple of comments on his thread to make it look like he had the last word and was authority on it. Well, Audioholics has done exactly the same thing. They just deleted my last comment. So what they've left in place is Iyagi accusing me of being hostile, and that's it. If you're trying to be fair, Audioholics, you would delete all of those comments. You leave his first one in place, that's fine. And then delete all the ones below it where I've said something to him and he's answered me back. That would be fair. Do not leave in place me asking him why he muted me. Then he accuses me of being, not allowing him to a discussion as though it was an actual conversation. It was a comment thread. Of course you can comment and reply. And accusing me of being hostile. But anyway, here is what it's all about. This is how it started. Remember, he says I was hostile and didn't let him respond. I didn't let him respond on his own channel to his own comments. Okay. This is my question to him. Is your frequency of response measurement an average? So he's just given one line of a frequency response and telling you that's the impression. Remember, these are Bluetooth speakers. This is completely different to how, your mainstream bookshelves and your floor standards work with all your separate stuff, because these are completely reliant on their DSP. They'd have no bass. None of them would have any bass without DSP. And they sound different at every volume. The tuning is different. Remember, active speakers, actively tuned, they sound different at every volume step. It looked to me like he's measured it at maximum volume, because he then said it's got a 400 hertz roll-off. Or maybe that was just at maximum volume. But anyway, he said he measured it at maximum volume, said it had a 400 hertz roll-off in the bass, but that was good for a Bluetooth speaker. That's not good for a Bluetooth speaker. Is your frequency response measurement an average of all volumes or taken at a particular volume? I don't know. It's a question. These Bluetooth speakers sound different depending on the volume, so it's best not to average responses, so no single volume would actually sound like that. Hostile? That's a question, isn't it? He says it is not an average response. I mean, he could have actually gone in and said what it was, but he decided to just say it's not an average response. Already to me, a bit guarded. So I said, at what volume is it? Since it's a volume specific, what the response looks like, thanks. Not realizing at this point, he doesn't seem to have grasped that, and that's not a knock or anything, this is just reality. Doesn't seem to have grasped that these speakers sound different at every volume. Not just dynamically to your ears and how our ears are sensitive at each volume to different frequencies, but the fact they are physically tuned, not just tuned like that way. The limiters will be different. There's so much dynamic stuff going on that you can't measure them. If you want to tell people how they sound, you can't measure them in the same way as normal loudspeakers, unless you say it's at a particular volume. So I said, at what volume is it? Did I just say that? Since it's volume specific, what the response looks like. I actually said, thanks. Hostile? He says it was measured at 85 decibels from what I recall, which is standard. And this is how they do the mainstream stuff. How a frequency response looks like is not volume dependent. Yes, it is on these Bluetooth DSP active speakers. If it is, then it is because you are measuring an in-room response and also recording more reflections as you increase volume. Well, I'm not. I'm doing quasi-anechoic, but I guess he's making a general comment. But again, missing the point. If you're measuring it in room and want to know what speakers are doing without without room interaction, since every room is different, that, by the way, that's not how I measure. But anyway, then averaging the in-room response with gated measure is correct and a valid way to measure. My response is an anechoic response without room interaction. I don't know if he means quasi-anechoic, or is he literally measuring in an anechoic chamber? And by the way, normally these people, when they say an anechoic chamber, they have a small little thing that they call anechoic. It's not like these big, massive anechoic rooms you get with the big brands, and when they do it properly anyway. I'm not saying it's not proper. I'm saying that's not what I would personally call an anechoic room as such. It's like a cupboard. But anyway, I don't know what he is or not doing, or if it's actually quasi-anechoic. That is because he's talking about gated. So you're already talking about quasi. So you're trying to get some sort of in-room measurement to be more like an anechoic response. My point being, so far, there's no hostility, in my opinion. You tell me. He's now kind of moved away from the whole point of what I was saying, so I'm going to have to bring it back on. So I said, bit confused. How are you claiming response is not volume dependent? Nothing to do with target response. The calculated response simply then being relative to your target response. When you say your measurements are anechoic, I assume you mean quasi-anechoic. I assume you're not actually measuring inside an anechoic chamber, but just bear in mind a lot of these people that do that are in a small thing, like which Dave will say is anechoic, and is not my understanding of anechoic proper room or chamber. The frequency response is different at each volume for the speaker. Yeah, that's me talking. It is, of course, and at this point, I realise I need to point out that he might. I didn't think I'd needed to point it out at this point, but I clearly need to make the point that these are dynamic DSP. They are tuned to sound different at every volume. It, of course, uses dynamic DSP. Can you tell us, please, what volume step you was at when making your measurement? Thank you. Hostile? Have I stopped him from replying? That was that page. So he replies, the measurement was taken at around 85 decibels, like I said. Yes, I understand that. But these are, I've made the point, these are, in case he hadn't got it, dynamic DSP. They are tuned different at every volume step. The question should be asked the other way around. Since frequency response is not really volume dependent, yes, it is. On these speakers, to begin with, how are you claiming that response is independent? So obviously, I'm now a bit aghast that seemingly, I don't know, seemingly not grasping that they are tuned to sound different at every volume step. But anyway, so I say because it uses DSP, but I've already said that, haven't I? As it goes up in the voice. But by the way, have I got hostile yet? I'm having a debate. He says he welcomes open debate. This is a discussion, because it uses DSP. As it goes up in the volume, the bass response reduces and mids and highs change, because obviously these are so limited. Look at the size of these little things, and they're cheap. They're so limited, so they tend to try to squeeze bass out at lower volumes and then just give you mid and highs as you go up. So getting rid of distortion but giving you volume. Different at every volume step. Again, so have I said that? Yeah. Perhaps you are not used to measuring these DSP-dependent speakers. He doesn't. He does seem to just do high end. I'm not genuinely asking. Even listening to it, you should note how the sound thins out the louder it goes as relative bass reduces. I mean, that's just fact. Again, I ask, what volume step was the speaker set to for measurements? So what volume step were you at when you had it at 85 decibels? It will come out in a minute. Just stick with me. What? That's what she said. What volume step was the speaker set to for your measurements? Edit. Just a thought. Are you measuring in Bluetooth mode? You're measuring in Bluetooth mode, not auxiliary mode. Because obviously we're testing Bluetooth speakers. We want to know what they do over Bluetooth. It's all about Bluetooth, where they're having to use their codec. And that's one of the big things about this was it's got LDAC. From my experience of measuring speakers, it still doesn't seem to have got the difference between active Bluetooth speakers. But anyway, from my experience of measuring speakers, I understand that it is minimal in frequency response changes. And with DSP, no, it's not minimal. It's actually supposed to help with that. So I'm unsure where you got the idea that DSP changes frequency response depending on volume. All he has to do is measure it at each volume step, and he'll find out. Not arguing. Well, that's fine. So we're still having a healthy debate. I'm willing to learn if I'm misunderstanding something. When you say volume step, I'm assuming you're now talking about the speakers. Well, yeah, the volume step. As you go another click on your device on your phone, that it's responding with. I'm assuming you're talking about the speakers. The speakers. See, here's the problem. So, what they measure it set to at 100%, and then through the software or through their equipment, they're reducing volume. They're not reducing it in the way we do in the real world. The speakers are at maximum volume. The speaker considers itself at maximum volume, and that's where the DSP and the limiters are working. So that's why you're getting a 400 hertz roll-off on his measurements. The speakers are at maximum volume and were controlled by the interface to set the measured volume around 85 decibels. That's the issue, and that's fine. He's welcome to my world, and that's fine. This is just about debate and was I being hostile? So I said, because all these Bluetooth speakers are tuned to overcome the limitations of these small, cheap units. If you had measured at different volume steps, you would see bass boost for lower volumes, then bass dropping off relative to mids and highs as you go up in volume. The result is a change in sound at all volumes, from bass heavy to thinner and leaner at higher volumes, which gives more headroom for extra volume as the amp doesn't have to drive as much bass. Measuring with a speaker set to 100% only is not the way to measure these heavy DSP active units. Did you measure in Bluetooth mode? Again, I'm trying to find out. I mean, he's already only measured at a maximum volume for the speaker's actual volume. I'd like to know that he's actually measured it in Bluetooth mode and not auxiliary mode. So I asked him, this is the second time, did you measure in Bluetooth mode? I hope you didn't test in auxiliary mode only. It's surprising you asked me where I got the idea that the tuning changed with volume. Suggest you are used to measuring passive traditional only. Now, does that, maybe you could say that's slightly hostile. The conversation is not hostile, is it? It's a back and forth on our completely different ways we are approaching this speaker. Page 4. And that's where it ended. So, first of all, he that's the one that he deleted to leave his comment as though it was the last before deleting everything. Now, a couple of you came in, and also, and your messages, of course, got deleted along with the thread. Mr. Gromit, Brian Still, I believe, and Mr. Jason, I think you are Jason Molarello, but you also came in quite nicely, tried to point out why the passive speakers that he's used to measuring, it's a completely different ball game to these cheap DSP limited dynamic EQ based speakers. How you have to measure those if you want to give people an idea of the of how it will sound at the volumes they're likely to listen to. And that's, of course, dB being completely dependent, the distance you are from the speaker. Of course, the standard is 1 meter, but that's fine in the audio world where they're just doing everything relative to their standardized testing. It's in the Bluetooth speaker world. Who makes sure they're listening from 1 meter? I won't go into what they said. Just to say, really, the point there was, I'm just going to get a fill up on the tea. Hang on a sec. So, that was all a rant because I have no other way of putting my message out. Do you know why? Because Iyagi deletes my comments, and Audioholic now also delete my comments. I don't know if they've muted me altogether. They've certainly edited that thread to make it look like Iyagi has been able to accuse me of being hostile, and I've just said, I've left it because I can't respond to that. Whereas I did respond to it. I responded it by saying, have a look on my Instagram and my community posts where I have the screenshots of the whole chat, and you can decide whether I was muted because he was a little bit embarrassed at what he'd done, or, and by the way, as I said, I don't want to broaden this thing into something else it shouldn't be. But let's say, well, I will read the description and allow you to make a view on that. This is the guy who reviews £10,000 worth of speakers at a time. I think this is down to like £110 now, something. The sound called early birds never, on most of these companies, the early birds are never an early bird actual deal. They're a price for people who buy early, and it's always cheaper later on. Retailed at £200. I think it's down to 110 quid now. So, you know, this $200 speaker is better than I have ever imagined. This is research. This guy is doing a doctorate. I don't know what it means. Is what he was described as what a candidate for a PhD. I don't know what that means. Or do you get nominated without doing research? I honestly don't know what that means. But this is a clever guy who does research, and he knows that this is a meaningless term I have ever imagined, because he may have imagined it has been absolute crap. So, in the science world where every word matters, in science that would tell us absolutely nothing. Better than I have ever imagined. So something that would explain what he's thinking would say is pretty good. It's better than X speaker I tried. But to say I have ever imagined, because I could pick up any speaker, I could say, oh, before I got it, I thought that would be the worst speaker I've ever heard. And then it could be like only the second worst speaker I have ever heard. And then my title I could put is better than I ever imagined. And that would give the completely wrong impression. That's why, without a science background, I would just say, well, that's just sloppy. But with a science background, you know that means nothing. Soundcore Motion X600. I have high standards as an audiophile. This is him speaking, not me. And someone who, and of course, audiophiles come to mean something else. Now, he does listen to, he is what I would describe as an audiophile, because he has high-end gear. And he's all about the neutrality and all that. That's true. A lot of people who say they're audiophiles and they come in and buy these speakers. That's another debate. And someone who reviews high-end speakers and gear. However, this may be the best $200. Maybe. Again, these are not scientific terms. This is a guy who's got a science background. And these are not. So when it could mean anything. This is actually a disclaimer. When you say this may be, that's a disclaimer. Like when I say at the end of my descriptions, possibly the greatest review of all time. As long as I'm not saying I am, it's meaningless. However, this may be, so it might not be. So you'd think someone who's written this has no scientific background at all. Maybe the best $200 wireless Bluetooth audio files. Now, come on. I'm not going to, I shouldn't, I don't want to take this too far. But I'm just saying, he's saying this is a $200 Bluetooth audiophile speaker. So what is it? You may have no idea. You may have lived in a cave. Just popped your head out and said, bloody hell, what's happened? It's got your two woofers and your two tweeters. That's already spatial audio, by the way. Stereo is spatial audio. But obviously they're playing on the fact that most people will not understand what spatial audio is, and they'll think it's something like Dolby Surround, something like Atmos, and they'll make it even muddier because they'll say spatial audio because it's got an upward firing driver. You cannot claim it's an audiophile speaker when it takes the original mix and has to remix it into mono for the upward firing driver. And I think it's doing other psychoacoustics with the track. So there's nothing about the original mix. Audiophiles are all about reproducing the original mix. Audiophiles are all about reproducing the original mix. Reproducing the original mix. Reproducing the original mix. No mix, no mix, no mix, no mix, 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 mix. This kills the original mix to give you a sense of a bigger soundstage. So a lot of people like that, but understand that's nothing audiophile about that. It's not decoding anything. There's nothing. It's not an Atmos for music that's using a height speaker to play the height information. This is a stereo speaker. Slightly got the woofers outward firing to give it a sense of space. Psychoacoustic tricks to make it sound like it's widening the stereo, and then remixing another extra channel to fire upwards in mono that's killing the original mix. It was never information that was in the original mix. That is not a speaker for true audiophiles. And to claim that in the description, again, I'm not being hostile. I'm not being hostile. But you tell me. I just don't want people to get it wrong. I'm all about, that was all about my issues with the speaker, is the misinformation. And that's fine on channels that don't know any better. This guy, Iyagi, knows his stuff. He knows a lot more than I do. And that's why, especially with a scientific background, when you're talking about this as an audiophile speaker, and yet you've actually killed the original mix in many ways, not least the upward firing driver. That's mono, by the way. And he says, actually works great. So you tell me. I didn't actually go in and say, you're a shill. I never accused him of telling non-truths. I've just challenged some of his views. Do you know why? Because he's an intelligent geezer that says he welcomes open debate. I've now been accused of being hostile. To a lot of people, they reimagine these terms in their head, and now they'll say, oh, on that channel, he's aggressive, he goes around threatening people. But there's the evidence. I didn't. I engaged in healthy, open debate. Some of the things he says are absolutely, well, they're silly. To say he says he didn't get a chance, I didn't give him a chance to respond, yet it's comments on his own channel. How can he possibly say I didn't give him a chance to respond? I mean, that's just silly, Jays, isn't it? I hope one day, like everybody, we can be friends. I don't like the idea now that I seem to have got a reputation. So I've stopped doing it. I don't want all the negativity around my channel. So, he just goes around, he's after views and all that. I'm not after, as I said, I've obviously wants to anyone who puts out a video wants it to get views. I'm not going to claim otherwise. But this anti-Shill thing is nothing about views. It's because I'm really pissed off that I have to spend, by most of my speakers, yeah, there's a few speakers that I now get. I bought both of these speakers. I bought both. I didn't know I bought one. All right, tell the truth. Yeah, this was the last speaker Soundcore gave me, still thinking that I would just do promotion for them. I still hadn't learned. And it was so bad, I haven't even mentioned that. The overdrive, so bad on the speaker, I cannot listen to it. The bass distortion is so bad, I didn't know if I had a faulty speaker or not. I had back and forth with Soundcore, and they were clearly trying to pull wool over my eyes and stop me putting out any more videos. I then bought my own version just to make sure I didn't have a faulty speaker, and that had the same bass distortion. So in all the things I'm talking about, I didn't even get into. Anybody with ears will hear. I'm not saying everybody can hear, and if you like any speaker, that's fine. I'm not saying you should like what I like, but I'm saying in terms of someone claiming to be an audiophile, maybe they got lucky with a speaker, but I have got two speakers with horrendous overdrive bass distortion. I cannot listen to them unless I completely dial down the bass. By the way, I did do that in my first video, and then they openly admitted to me, and I showed you the email, Soundcore, that they used my idea to reduce the bass in another video, except they didn't actually understand what I'd done, and still had a firmware that had increased the bass, and then used my idea on top of it. So of course, the whole thing worked out badly. So yeah, I do get a little bit frustrated that big brands like that are actually watching my videos and nicking my ideas for an EQ without credit to me. I do get annoyed if I'm being accused of wrongly being accused of hostile, but I leave you to tell me. Tell me in the comments. I really want you to know. I really want to know. You tell me where I was hostile. You tell me where I stopped the guy from replying. An intelligent guy who says he welcomes open debate. So yeah, maybe I'm going on a bit, but I have no other platform because they won't reply to me. They just delete my comments. I think that's awful. And as I said, I think I was starting to say why I feel so strong about this stuff is because I buy most of my speakers, because I will never take money to promote a speaker. I don't even take freebies to promote a speaker. If I get it, I tell them I do my own thing in my own time, and I'll say what I want. They have no input. Even when they don't pay you, they will try and guide you what to say. And they'll sort of want to see it beforehand. I'm not saying everybody does that. But most people in some way will be playing along with these brands. I don't play along in any way at all. It's 100% again, and maybe that's because I'm not here to make money. We're all here to have views. So yeah, before you comment saying, oh, you're just after views, of course I want. That's the whole point of putting out a video. However, on these type of rant videos that I do from time to time, it literally, truly is my therapy. Otherwise, all day long, I'm thinking, I want to tell him that, and I can't because they've censored me. So yeah, I'm using my platform as far as I can. Look, how many years have I been doing this? I'm at 30K. That's a lot, but it's a small platform compared to these apparently rising stars and Audioholics. I like what Jin Della Sua does. A lot of the ones that come on his podcast, but there's a couple of them there. Maybe not quite my cup of tea in things they say and do. However, that's why. That's two reasons. And I know I'm going on and on because why not? I'd sit here as long as I want. I don't care anymore. I've told you that. Yeah, why I'm so went up because Iyagi is wrongly accusing me of stuff, using a platform where Audioholics are allowing him to accuse me of stuff and not allowing me to defend myself. As I said, if they wanted to be impartial, they would delete all the extra comments, not just my last comment. And I wasn't hostile is the point. I can't see any way you can justify what he's accusing me of. That both shutting him, not allowing him. Have I still got it or have I thrown it away? There it is. You were not giving me a chance for open discussion. I mean, it's just silly because it's on his own channel. What does that even mean? I just showed you that he was replying, and I was just discussing. I was rude and hostile. I've even been saying thanks in my comments, haven't I? So this is not true. What he said to me is not true. I may be wrong in everything I said, and that's fine. That's the whole point of true, open discussion. As I said, I hope one day we're all friends. This does sap my energy, all this negativity, but I'm the sort of person that cannot settle that if I think a wrong has been done to me, and I need to reply. That's why I do these videos. I was going to do a different. I wanted to do my Sony Field 1. I was already getting ready to start doing my recordings and then do a video of the weekend. That's all now delayed. I didn't want to do this, but I had to for my own sanity. And I'm not even joking, by the way. I thank you for watching. I hope to see you again, and there'll be, I don't know how this will go down. Either it'll either get no views, nobody's interested, yet another rant from me, or there'll be some people from his channel, maybe Iyagi. I'm not going to, Mr. Iyagi, if you're listening, and I hope we can just settle this once and for all, and you can either say you're right or wrong, or whatever, and we can shake hands and just move on. I really don't like this negativity, but what I can't leave hanging is you calling me hostile and rude and not letting you talk, and it's just not true. So please come on my channel if you want to. You won't get deleted, you won't get censored, no matter what you say. And that's all I want, true open debate. Thank you for watching. I hope some of you will watch me again and you can be harsh, I don't care. I don't care, as long as it's your honest opinion and it doesn't cross the line into a personal attack, which is nothing to do with the audio and the discussion. See you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much.
What the f*** was that?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much.
It comes from China.
My speaker's got deep bass, balanced mids, and a bright high.
Yes, mine sounds exactly the same.